Welcome back to ChessKid on YouTube, and online you can pretty much make up whatever you want in chess. Don't believe me? Well, remember over in ChessKid land, I totally made up a term for when a piece moves halfway but does not actually capture the other piece. I called it the nutmeg. Does it make sense? I don't know. But what I do know is that it probably sticks in your brain. Today, can I define a made-up term with another made-up term? Well, we're going to try. It is called the reverse nutmeg, the anti-nutmeg. Who knows what it's talking about, but it could very well have happened between Magnus Carlsen and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, who just battled it out in a chess.com speed chess championship match. This was the actual position. Magnus was white, and he had a very interesting opportunity to enliven the game. He could have pushed, actually he did push, but he could have captured this pawn. Now it makes a little bit of nonsense to be messing up your pawns like that. Magnus would just give himself double pawns, and now Maxime could play queen a5, and this pawn is a goner. Now why on earth would the world champion isolate his own pawn like this? Well, it's because by taking, he acquires a new square for the queen. So queen to b3 might have been the follow-up, and then black might have ignored his base pawn, and Maxime might have played queen takes a4. Okay, that's a terrible French expression. Let's get back to chess. The big moment would have come here. Can the queen capture the pawn? Well, you know, the b pawn is often the poisoned pawn. Such an important concept. Yeah, I made a ChessKid video out of that as well. Let's take a look. If the queen captures this pawn, then the queen and the bishop are on the same file. Oh, so you're probably thinking, hey, Maxime can play the move rook to b8. And then when the queen moves out of the way, she'd be here. She'd only have one square, and then the bishop would just be lost. So this pawn is a poisoned pawn, right? Right? Well, let's just see. If the queen takes, see, the computer can't hide the truth. The computer already gave a question mark. Then the rook on f could move over to b8. Both those rooks are in open files. But wait a minute. Now the computer is tipping off his hand as well by saying that's a question mark too. Could there possibly be a reverse nutmeg? Indeed there can. There is an amazing move for white to save his material here. What would the Norwegian have done? Well, you've got the queen and the rook on the same file. Now in the nutmeg, you move part of the way toward the enemy piece, but not all the way. Here, we're going to back up, but not all the way. This saving move would be queen to b3, double exclam. That's not your double exclam. That's the world champion's double exclam. Now, what does that do? It looks like you're just making the distance further, right? But here's the point. First of all, if the queen captures, you just take with the pawn and you're just up a pawn. We can totally end the video here, but we're not going to end the video because you're wondering what happens if the rook takes the queen. Well, if the rook takes, the pawn takes, and now instead of white being skewered on the b file, it's black who's skewered on the a file, and annoyingly for black, the queen cannot capture her own pawn on c6 to guard the rook. There is no queen move that guards the rook. Of course, if the queen takes, we will just take back, and if I count carefully, I think it's 7 pawns for white and 6 for black. That's not going to work for black. And the other option is to move the queen over, but then after rook takes, this is a very easy 2 rooks versus queen position. The 2 rooks are much better than the queen, because black has to put something on the back row. Probably the knight is best, I don't really know, but when the knight moves back, there's so many opportunities for white. This knight can be jumping in once you save this knight. This bishop can actually jump to a3 right away and go after this pawn. And even something simple like moving your rook over and then moving this rook over and doubling rooks on the 8th rank. There are no weaknesses in white's camp, and in fact the rooks will dominate this black queen, and it should be a victory for white. So amazingly, you just move your queen back to b3. Such an amazing move. We need to look at it again. The queen just goes back to b3. But wait, you're saying, wasn't there a question mark earlier when the queen did take the pawn? Well, indeed there was. Let's go back. In this position, weirdly, queen takes b7 is a mistake. It is a poisoned pawn, but why? Well, it's a case of which rook. Yet another lesson chess kids have to know. Actually, black uses this rook, and it makes all the difference. Only a single exclam for that one. If you move your queen, of course, you just lose your bishop. And now the reverse nutmeg does not get you anywhere, because when the rook takes, and the pawn takes, everyone can see there is nothing but a blank space on a8, and the queen steps aside. Black would have a queen for rook, and black would go on to win. A very, very cool idea. I'm not sure you'll ever get to use a reverse nutmeg, at least in chess. Maybe there's a way to do it in soccer. And, well, stay tuned for the next chance for that tactic to happen. I don't know when that'll be.